our television streaming. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. This month's Parks Board meeting is now in session. We've got a lot of exciting things to talk about today, but we're going to start off with public comment. Before we do that, I just want to say hello to our newest member, Stephen McGinnis. Stephen, do you want to introduce yourself briefly to the board and also to everybody at home and in the audience?
Thank you. Great honor. Yeah, my name is Stephen McGinnis. I'm a recent grad of NC State in the Wilson College of Textiles, majored in polymer and color chemistry. Currently working for Elevate Textiles, and so I am bouncing between a couple plants from Rayford, North Carolina to Burlington, all the way down to Richmond County and Rockingham, sometimes to Greenville, South Carolina. So it keeps me busy. But in my spare time, I rowed at Lake Wheeler since high school and middle school, so Triangle Rowing Club, then now with NC State Rowing Club, and now I'm going to help coach them. And so I've been loving Lake Wheeler since high school, from Holly Springs originally, and now resident in Raleigh. And so I'm very excited to be here and happy to help.
Awesome. We're excited to have you on the board. And also, right before we get to public comment, for board members, you guys may see a little bit more paper in front of you than you're used to. Couple things, just so you guys can work on it as the meeting goes. There is a list of committee assignments. We're going to kind of revisit committee assignments. So if you see a committee and your name, it's not listed next to your name, and you want to sign up for it, just fill it in. We're going to collect these by the end of the meeting and kind of put them all together just to figure out who wants to be on what committee. Once we do that, we're going to kind of do a survey of members to see what days still work for folks so that we can kind of revisit potentially changing those dates. And then you guys also have a copy of the work plan in front of you that you guys got via email. And there's a nice summary of the different committees and liaison roles that you guys can look at as well. Okay, without further ado, public comment. First on our list is George Jeter. George, if you want to come forward, you can just come right up to the podium here.
Okay. My name is George Jeter. I live on Plantation Road in Raleigh. I'm speaking regarding the currently proposed Big Branch Connector project. The project proposes 3 possible routes, one down Hines Drive and Plantation Road, one would run up, we have a very hilly neighborhood, Belvin Drive and Plantation Road. The third would run through a lovely area that looks like a greenway already. That's the streamside option. I am against running the Greenway Trail through either of the 2 street options. I'll quickly tell you why, but mostly I want to invite you all, you have my contact, to come to the neighborhood, see how destructive it would be and how dangerous to Greenway users it would be. We can walk through with the tape measure. I can show you. Either street option, 100% would run through the front half of front yards. That means it would travel over numerous driveways. Either street option would require massive clear cutting of more trees and foundational bushes than the engineering plan I saw said would happen. I don't know how they got the low number they got, but I can show you it'd be more. And I can show you every single tree that would probably come down. Both street routes would be curvy and hilly. Homes are either above the road in our neighborhood or below the road in our neighborhood. Almost none are even. So you pave a path through those yards, you're going to create numerous blind approaches as you go over driveways, and they're going to be moving inside of front yards where people are not going to see them. I believe 100% if you were to put it through either one of the 2 street options, people would get hurt. And then at the bottom, you also have commercial driveways on either side of Plantation, a big place where people could get hurt. On the stream side, you would have 0 driveways because there's no front yards or anything in that option. So either street option, you're crossing at the bottom of it a commercial street entrance exit. They both empty out. On one side, you have a large daycare center with the driveway, and on the other side, you have an office park with the driveway. So either way you would come through with Hines or Belvin to Plantation, you'd be crossing a big commercial driveway at the end. A lot of the homeowners would lose a lot of their driveways with either plan. There are some homeowners that lose most of their driveways. I'm not even sure they could still have room to park a car. Also, you'd have to begin construction after the existing mailboxes. We have street side mail delivery. So you got to step 3 feet into the yards before you even talk about the 10 to 15 feet you need. Then you got to push utility poles past. That's another 20 feet and a second clear cutting. Meanwhile, streamside option looks like a Greenway trail right now. So you have my contact. If you doubt anything I just said, come walk with me. We'll take a tape measure, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jeter. All right, next public comment is Scott Tees. Mr. Tees, you can come on down.
Hey, thanks, everybody. Good evening. My name's Scott Tees, just like my neighbor. I live on Hines Drive, which is one of the first houses that would enter the neighborhood for the proposed Greenway on Hines. And we're just here to talk a little bit. You heard some of the safety concerns. Two things that are top of mind for us. One is we love the Greenway. So any of you that have been involved in that for a while, thank you. It's like a gift that Raleigh has. It's really quite amazing. So we want to see a Greenway expansion. We love it. We just think two things for us. It needs to be green. It needs to look like Crabtree Creek, where we go all the time, which is green and safe, and it's next to a river, and it's a beautiful place to be. It needs to be safe. And we think the Hines Drive route doesn't meet either one of those two qualifications. For me personally, it also means some really big trees come down, including a beautiful, beautiful pine tree that was probably planted sometime right after the Civil War. So a big one would have to come down. A good number of trees out of our front yard would have to come down, which really would change the character of our yard and the neighborhood. So that's really all we wanted to mention. My wife and I are longtime residents of Raleigh. We met at NC State, so good job, Stephen. You're welcome to come out at any time and take a look, just like George had mentioned. We'd love for you to come out and just take a look at the two routes. We were walking in the neighborhood the other day. We looked across Belvin to the path where the Greenway would be next to the stream. It already looks like a Greenway. I mean, if you had a path there, it already looks like it's a Greenway. So with that, I'll give more time back. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tees. All right, next in public comment is Philip Cohen.
Good morning, everybody, or good evening, everybody. My name's Philip Cowan. I live at 3034 Plantation Road, next to George and Scott. We're in that area. So I wanted to talk briefly with y'all about the Big Branch connector that's coming through there for the Greenway. There's 3 options, as they've mentioned. One is the streamside option, which goes along the stream and the existing sewer right-of-way down there. The 2 other options come up Plantation, which I live on, come into our neighborhood, either go down Belvin or go up Hines. My concern is the numerous driveway crossings, including my own, that we cross multiple times a day where you have bicyclists. There's a grade on Plantation. We actually live in kind of a curve in the road there, so I know there's some sight distance. But concerned about the safety of the Greenway users who are going to be coming through there. I think it would be inevitable that there's some interaction between vehicles, pedestrians, cars, and bicyclists there. So that's a big concern of ours. But also the streamside option is the typical Greenway you see in Raleigh that we all know and love. And, you know, with the mission of the Greenway and the purpose, I think that's the best area. I think there's no driveway or car interaction there with the Greenway users. And so we're asking that y'all recommend the streamside option out of those 3 to the City Council. Thank y'all for your time.
Okay, thank you. And next for public comment, we have Leslie DeHaven.
Good evening. My name is Leslie DeHaven, and I also live in Crabtree Heights. I'm at the corner of Plantation and Hines Road. This neighborhood was established almost 60 years ago, well before the Big Branch Greenway connector was envisioned. I'm here today because I'm extremely concerned about 2 proposed Greenway alternatives for this segment 1B of the Big Branch Greenway. They would cross through our neighborhood. And my family, we love the Greenway. I've had many happy walks, bike rides, runs with my family and my dog. We enjoy exploring the new parts of the Greenway and are generally excited when new paths are created. However, the 2 new proposed paths that would be in our neighborhood, the Plantation Hines option and the Plantation Belvin option, raise some serious safety concerns. Both, as others have mentioned, both paths would cross many driveways in the neighborhood, presenting safety issues for Greenway users as well as residents. Many of these driveways already have visibility issues because they are steep or they're placed near the curve in the road. If we were to have children, cyclists, scooter riders, runners, and walkers crossing our driveways, it would be very dangerous for those Greenway users, especially where the visibility is already low. Additionally, each of these two options crosses a commercial driveway. The Plantation Hines option crosses a daycare driveway, and that's the only exit from that parking lot. And then the Plantation Belvin option crosses the driveway of a small office complex. Again, that's an entrance and exit, and it's the only one from that parking lot. In both instances, the drivers from those commercial places already don't look up the hill to see if their driver's coming down from the neighborhood. So I can't imagine they'll be any better if there are Greenway users added to the mix. And at that point as well, the road is sloping down towards Six Forks Road. And so it'd be hard for kids on bikes or scooters to stop easily for those driveways. Finally, there are numerous drivers that cut through our neighborhood off of Six Forks, whether they're trying to turn out the shopping center across the street or whatever. Ask any of us that are dog walkers in our neighborhood, and you will see, we can tell you numerous times we've had to jump out of the way or pull our dogs out of the way. That's an issue because the Plantation Hines option would include a crossing of Plantation Road right near Hines Drive. And so adding Greenway users crossing the road where people are already speeding is an issue. We're also concerned about how different the Greenway's character would be if it were in our neighborhood. It wouldn't be as green because they would have to cut down trees in the yards of well-established homes, and not only trees just for the Greenway, but because they would have to relocate utility poles as well. And it would make the Greenway less Greenway-esque. As someone who uses the Greenway, I'm concerned about the Greenway and any Greenway that would recklessly endanger Greenway users with these safety issues. And I would not like a Greenway that is not in keeping with what we typically think of as a Greenway. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And we actually have several other public comments. Actually, Pierce, we have two additional ones. Two of these are from the same person. So I'm just going to read those really quickly, if you guys don't mind bearing with me. The first one is from Amanda Raffaello. Hello, this is Amanda Raffaello. My address being 500 Northwest Street, Raleigh, North Carolina, 27603. It's an apartment complex. I'm in building 600. I'm reaching out because there's been a lot of people within the Raleigh running community asking about public tracks in the area, especially ones that are the proper material for a track and not just asphalt. It seems that within the public school system and the tracks that exist across the Raleigh area, there's nothing that's open to the public, and majority of what is open and what is open is asphalt. So really, I'm looking for more answers around what we're doing to get public access to track and field, especially given the size of the Raleigh running community. One of the largest events in downtown is the City of Oaks Marathon. To train for a marathon, you need primarily a plan that consists of speed workouts. Those speed workouts are best done on a track due to keeping track of your overall workout and distance, but also because it is less impact on the person that is running. So again, the problem with the track system seems to have been going on for years now, and as a resident, as of 2020, I've seen no changes to mitigate this issue. Thank you. The second one? Okay. And the second comment is from Tiffany Taylor. Hi, my name is Tiffany Taylor. I'm calling on behalf of the Big Branch Project. My address is 3104 Plantation Road. My comment is that I'm very grateful for the communication and feedback that Chris and Dale have been able to provide our community and for giving us more clarity on this project and next steps. That being said, I just wanted to be on the record for it to be known that given where I live along one of the Crabtree Heights paths, and I have a very steep driveway, my major concern is user safety. We do go up and down our driveway a lot as we have young children and many activities. My husband and I both work on site at our jobs and also with the hill. Even without the vehicles going up and down, with the potential of there being a pedestrian path, not even just pedestrian, but a greenway path at the top, we are just really concerned. One, we don't want to hit anybody. And then also the liability issue, in addition to having vehicles go up and down, I'm also worried about whatever retaining wall may be built. I'm very concerned about somebody falling into our yard and it being a liability issue, or somebody feeling really daredevilish and trying to go down our very steep driveway on a scooter or bike and getting injured, and just kind of the liability that would open up to my husband and I that we would then have to pass along to the city. But that, I know that there's been pictures documented of exactly how steep our driveway is, and it would be difficult, if not impossible, to see bikers, scooter riders coming in as we're going up and down our driveway. So that's what I wanted to mention. I wish I could be at the meeting and meet more of you face to face. I know that Chris has my email, so if you have any further questions, please reach out. I do plan on staying involved in this project. Thank you for your time. And she's not referring to me, Chris. I think she's probably been in touch with somebody from the city.
The project manager, Chris Nick Farr.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, that's it for public comment. Is there any other public comment in the House? No? Okay, thank you, everyone. Next up, we do not have a report from Raleigh Youth Council. They're on summer vacation, so we will have an update from the Raleigh Police Department Greenway unit.
Do not see Sergeant Burgess.
Okay.
He did let us know that there is a protest downtown and that he would come in really quick, present, take questions, and then leave. So maybe just continue with the
Yep.
agenda.
We'll float that item. All right. Next up is the work plan approval. So I mentioned earlier, you guys have the work plan in front of you. Just want to tip my hat to Ian. Ian's done a great job. He's led this process and really created what I think is a really clean work plan that kind of hits the high spots. And he's done a lot of work to collaborate with staff as well as with Councilman Mitchell Silver. So Ian, anything you wanted to say before we discuss this or vote?
Thank you, and hopefully everyone got a chance to read it, but also thank you for putting the nice pictures on.
Yeah, I was going to give you credit for the picture, but you get enough credit for their work plan. So hopefully everybody's had a chance to read through it. This is the same, it's an updated version of what was shared last month, but any questions from anybody on the board about items, of how they fit, how we tackle it? I know we've got a fair amount of new members that weren't here a year ago. So if you guys do have questions, feel free to ask them. You could even ask what a work plan is, anything like that. But if there aren't questions, what we're going to want to be able to do here is get a motion to send the work plan to City Council. And so that'll be kind of, if somebody's ready to make that motion, you can, but let's get some discussion
Just
first.
for the chair's clarification, part of my director's report, the council is pausing on any work plan approvals. So if you want to wait till next month and kind of see what they say, they're going to vote on some board updates. Nothing that impacts this board, but they were like, let's pause on work plans. Javon and I watched it together. So if you wanted to do it on another month, you could, but if not, you would just have one primed and ready to go. So it's really at the board's pleasure.
Let's do it. Yep. Yeah, I'm okay getting it off our plate and just checking it off. I'll tell my wife we were really productive tonight.
Chair, motion to approve.
Yeah. Okay, got a motion to approve. Were there any other questions or anybody? Okay, we got a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been seconded. All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye. All right. The motion passes. So we will send this to City Council and they can wait as long as they'd like to take a look at it. All right. Next up is our director's report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you. Great work plan. I think it really focuses on a lot of the core things we're working on. Highlight some council actions. On May 20th, council authorized the next phase of design for the Rocky Branch Creek, which is in your work plan, so you'll be able to see some of that. The Employee of the Year for the Raleigh Parks Department is Allie Crawford. Allie runs our active adult program. Her office is over at 5 Points. The Employee of the Year for the city was actually in the Engineering Services Department, but Allie was she was nominated by her peers and voted by her peers as being the employee for the Parks Department. Congratulations on Aaronsbrook approval, the schematic design approval, and we did put in notes about shade and turf as a part of the recommendations. Council talked a lot about seating. They didn't focus so much on the other. At a schematic design, you don't see where benches are, but ironically, it's actually a seat wall around it, so we can put some nice shade over top of the design. The City Parks Department received $626,000 for the Dix Park Conservancy to help with the next phase of demolitions of buildings at Dix Park, so that was very generous. For those of you that do not know, we do not own Oakwood Park. It is a lease arrangement with Oakwood Cemetery, and we have extended our lease for the park there for another 5 years. Let's see. We have the link for anytime you would like to volunteer in the park system, so that is there. A really incredible event that we had at Roberts Park was our third mobile free pharmacy event, which we had 400 online orders. We collaborated with Alliance Health, NC Medicist, and the Food Bank of North Carolina. So if you needed over-the-counter drugs, you could place an online order, and you could come pick those up, and those would be given to you for free. So third year we've done it at Roberts Park. On June 10th, this actually got some news, we host something, and it's a monthly series called The Death Cafe. So if you are older and you want to talk about how you feel, it's an open, non-agenda type meeting at 5 Points, and we hosted that this month at 5 Points. The other is, and I saw this today, for active adults, we had a large turnout for our Summer Days Cookout up at the Ann Gordon Center. I happened to be up there today, and I was like, oh, there's about 100 seniors congregating. I didn't know if it was a protest, but it was a bunch of seniors having a cookout, so it was funny. And then there's some pictures you'll see. One of the things in our park system plan update is we heard from the community more about wheeled sports. So we have purchased a portable pump track, and there's some pictures of that in there. It is at Forest Ridge right now, but if we wanted to move it, we could move it around. So if you think BMX, you don't have to pedal. You actually, your own force of it, it moves through, and it's kind of a cylinder type track, very popular with bicycle riders. And let's see, we have, those of you who do not know, we have 8 artists in residence in our park system. And our most recent one is a performing arts education creative fellow. So one of the things we're trying to do is bring arts into our community centers, and this fellow or resident will work with Ken's team and the Office of Raleigh Arts on how we can do more performing arts in our community centers. So that's a really cool opportunity. And if you're driving down Pool Road, as a part of the Pool Road construction, we have a really fantastic piece of public artwork installed next to one of the bus shelters. So I would encourage you to, if you're driving in Southeast Raleigh, to take a look at that. Very colorful, stands out. Keep your eyes on the road, though. And then one of the final things I wanted to highlight is that this Sunday, June 22nd at 3 p.m., as a result of the community work and your vote, we are renaming the John P. Top Green Center to the John P. Top Green African American Cultural Park and Center, and we're just having a drop-in reception. So I encourage you to go. And I talked about boards and commissions. The council didn't recommend anything that would impact this board. You normally hear about the Historic Cemeteries Advisory Board. That will be folded into the Historic Resources and Museums Board. Instead of asking the boards for nominations, they will ask the boards, what are the skill sets and backgrounds that you need for a board to be diverse in skill sets and ethnicities and race and gender. So, and then they will take that and look at the nominating list. So that's something that I think is a change. I talked about the pause on work plans. They didn't say how long they would pause, so hopefully they'll pick it back up pretty quick. We are out of here at 7:40. Duke Energy has paid for lighting up Fayetteville Street, so 88 tree trunks are wrapped in lights and will be lit up every night, but tonight is like the unveiling of it, because Live After 5, those have been around a long time, is a kind of a concert on Fayetteville Street. So the mayor is going to do like a 3-2-1 and light up Fayetteville Street, but from here forward, every night, all 88 street trees will be lit up from here forward. So, and then finally, whoops.
Aren't solar?
What's that?
They're not solar?
No, they're like a Christmas tree light, but they're at the base. Yeah. And thank you to Jeff and Chris. Last week they attended the kickoff of our accreditation, which you heard about in the retreat. Some descriptions from our accreditors were an authentic and real department, attention to detail, definitely knew their stuff, but they had a different word, and highly impressed. One wants to retire here, and one will bring their wife back to visit Raleigh someday. So we will find out in September officially whether we get accreditation or not. So that's my report. Yes?
The budget, was it,
Can you tell me, was the budget approved with the?
Sorry, that's
Yeah.
a really key piece of it. Our budget was approved. Yes. Yep.
As recommended?
As recommended. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Any questions?
Yeah, I just had a quick comment. I just wanted to say, I've probably heard over the past couple of weeks, like a half a dozen conversations with my friends about people who have been absolutely gushing about what's been done at Dix Park. I've heard, someone describe it as magical. Someone compared it to Prospect Park or Central Park in New York, like the absolute highest praise. So I just want to share that and say that I hope that everyone who's been working on that project has been getting that same praise too, because my community has been really up in arms over it. Has been gushing over it.
We got the numbers yesterday. The opening weekend had 42,000 people. 3,000 of which don't live in North Carolina.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Mr. Johnson.
Excuse me. And I'd like to add to that what you're seeing is half of what's going to be there. The plantings in that place are ready to blossom, and in probably less than 5 years, it'll feel like a totally different place. I'm thinking how to express it. We have a park with a park in it? I don't know, something like that. A playground with a park in it is really, really outstanding.
All right. Thank you, Stephen. All right. We might be able to get out of here by 7:45. We're all ready to committee reports. Parks Committee, we did not meet, so we can skip over that. Fred Fletcher already did a fantastic job. They also didn't meet. Greenways Committee.
We had a pretty lightly attended meeting with a pretty light agenda. We had some visitors from Crabtree Heights, and we're started as public comment, but because of our agenda length, we were able to have kind of a Q&A that lasted for quite a bit, and I think it was productive. We talked a little bit about some Friends of Raleigh Greenway updates. We are planning another fall scavenger hunt. It'll be a little longer, a little more extensive this year. Probably in October. The goal will be to wrap up before the leaves fall. And one good report is the sidewalk connections, the vinyl decals, the breadcrumbs are being installed as we speak.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Any questions for Jeff? Okay. Sustainability report. Kate.
Sure. So we had a really fun meeting. We did a field trip. We went to the Wilkerson Nature Preserve. And if you've never been there, first of all, it's really beautiful. It's up adjacent to Falls Lake. And I forget what his title is, but the preserve manager.
Preserve manager.
Yeah, Brian England. He's a really extraordinary botanist, actually known across the state for just being so exceptional. And he gave us a fabulous tour of really interesting work he's been doing, recreating historic landscapes. So it's great fun. Another thing that happened, I think, since the last meeting was that the Growth and Natural Resources Committee of the City Council had a meeting where they focused specifically on trees, and they looked at 3 different issues. One was some issues about protection of trees, and I really appreciated the special events staff people and Zach Manor, who's the urban forester within the Parks Department, came and talked about things that they were going to do to just better streamline for protection of trees on city land. And that was a really good presentation and good discussion by the City Council. There was also an update about the leaf out plan, some discussion about this idea for a campaign to plant 24,000 trees before the 240th anniversary of Raleigh, which is in 2032. And then the last item on the agenda for that meeting was about creating a list of native plants, trees, shrubs, wildflowers, et cetera. Not a regulatory list, but one that can be made available to developers and whoever who are looking for a relatively simple list where they don't have to become a botanist themselves to find things to plant. And the city council members were very excited about that, and it has went on to the the Growth and Natural Resources Committee presented a resolution to the city council which passed unanimously, asking parks to develop such a list. So that's underway. One other thing to say was that when the city council passed the budget, it was really lovely. Council member Mitchell talked about the leaf out plan and the campaign for 24,000 trees and his enthusiasm for that, which was great. And our next meeting is July 2nd, and all of you are welcome.
Field trips, that's how you're getting to be such a popular committee. Some other committee chairs getting a little jealous at how many members you have. Any questions for Kate?
I just wanted to add that, taking it off-site like that was just a great move and really appreciated. And it was also it was brilliantly educational. I wanted to go home and burn a part of my yard so I could have have peas come up. It was great. But, also Carrie has mentioned previously, and she mentioned at the retreat, the idea of us getting out when we can. I think it supports it in terms of the other nice thing was the folks that showed up for it as well. And so I know I learned a lot, and there were locals that showed up who learned a lot as well. So it was a great move doing that.
Yeah, that is awesome. Ken Hisler, can we plan some field trips for this fall for the Parks Committee?
Wherever you want to go, Chris.
Awesome.
Park is really nice.
I've heard about that. All right, committee reports. I'm going to go right back to Kate with the Sir Walter Raleigh Awards report.
I am never going to let anybody else serve on that committee. That was so fun. So it was really great. Really diverse, people with really diverse backgrounds, and we were deciding who would win these awards for design issues. And I think, actually, I meant to check, I think it's September 16th is the actual day of the event. That'd be great. But it was fun, and I'll be battling with all of you about next year who's going to be on the committee. So.
And speaking about September, well, I don't want to get out of order, but could we be changing the date of our September meeting because of the, CAPRA accreditation?
We're going to move it to September 11th.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, just take note, start penciling it in, but the week we were going to have our September meeting was going to conflict with the trip that a lot of staff is taking to Florida for the CAPRA accreditation confirmation. Fingers crossed, but I think we know what's going to happen there. So that'll move up so it'll be second Thursday of the month instead of third, as usual. Arts Commission, I do not have a report. BPAC, Bob?
They've had several neighborhood meetings on the active mobility plan that they are working with. And in addition to that, there's been a lot of concern about pedestrian safety. We've had some fatalities here. And even though they were not at crosswalks, we need to try to address how to get people into the crosswalks where they're not going to be hit and injured or killed. Also, additional traffic calming throughout the city in neighborhoods primarily. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Bob. Any questions for Bob?
I just want to tack on to that. Can we have a presentation to the board from the active mobility
Yep.
team?
We'll reach out to transportation and have that presentation shared with the whole board so you can get a Q&A with them.
City of Raleigh Historic Cemeteries Advisory Board. Thought I saw Mr. Craig here earlier. But, okay.
Charles is with his family tonight.
Okay.
So I'll allow Ryan to introduce himself.
Awesome.
Good evening, Board. My name is Ryan Lurch. I oversee the operations and grounds for Raleigh's city historic cemeteries. So Mount Hope Cemetery, in conjunction with city horticulturist, we participated in the Lomo Spring Initiative, which was very successful. We allowed certain areas of the cemetery that were not in use, old roads and whatnot, to be allowed to grow and flower for our native pollinators. And just a lot higher level of maintenance, and it's all cut now, but at the time, and it was actually very, very pretty. going through there if you've never been out to Mount Hope. We are now in our 4th year of a wildflower program that was initiated by Alicia Smith, our cemetery gardener. And you'll see large runs of wildflowers that include Fayetteville Street, Prospect Avenue, and some of the older road sections that meander through the cemetery. We are coming to a close after about 3 years of attaining our level 2 arboretum status at Mount Hope Cemetery, which would be a huge accolade for Mount Hope and for the city of Raleigh. We're going to be working with urban forestry and natural resources to finalize the paperwork to get that process completed. With the dwindling amount of cemetery space available in the city cemetery, we have been working on a columbarium proposal that is hopefully coming to a close this year. With the amount of material costs changing very quickly, it's been hard to pinpoint some numbers. But we are finalizing that to be able to present, hopefully to Stephen very soon. We've had multiple areas of turf renovation completed over the winter. We had GPR, ground penetrating radar, done in our pipeline section where we believed that there was a lot of open lots that we could possibly open for service. And after the findings, we realized that we did not have those open lots like we thought, and they were in the majority occupied, which is sad for being able to expand on space, but it was great because it helped us narrow down a lot of our data in that area on where people were buried. The Matthew Mausoleum is to be cleaned this summer due to the mildew growth. It was recently restored a few years ago, and we just want to make sure that it looks its best. It's one of our highlighted spaces at the Mount Hope Cemetery. And we had a few markers that were broken due to a vehicle driving through the cemetery not too long ago off the road, and every one of them has been repaired in-house by our staff. City Cemetery is business as usual. O'Rourke Cemetery, also business as usual. We did have some mowing cycles that had gotten out of schedule. We've had a vacancy now for a month, and we also had another individual that was off on workman's comp. So we had to play a little bit with our mowing schedule, but now everything is back on track, and we do still have the one vacancy. And Dorothea Dix Cemetery, we did have one of our stand-up markers that it's a pillar marker in the middle of the cemetery. It was vandalized and knocked down. Luckily, no actual damage was done. It is something that we will be able to repair in-house, and we should be doing that by end of month. I believe we scheduled it for the 26th if weather is appropriate for that. And we need the weather to be right because it's going to take our tripod to set it back up just due to the size and weight of it. And that's all I have.
I got a question, please.
Yes, sir.
Does the city maintain a historic cemetery over in the Method area?
Which cemetery?
Method, over Method.
We do not. No.
I wonder who does, because there's one there that's been for hundreds of years that's right.
Yeah, it could be any number of groups. It would be a private cemetery. The only ones we maintain are historic public cemeteries. So it might be associated with a church, which usually cemeteries are.
Yeah, we have about 12 small cemeteries that are in city parks and on city properties that we do just scheduled maintenance on throughout the year, but I do not believe that is one of them.
This is about a half acre, I think, as you go over the new bridge going into the area, and it's Oak something cemetery has been there for several hundred years. Okay, thanks.
Any other questions for Ryan? Kate?
So now I'm forgetting the wording that you used, but where you were looking at that area in the Mount Hope Cemetery to see whether the grave sites had been used.
Yes.
Now that you know that there are graves in that area, Do you have a sense of who those people were who were buried there?
That is a great question. Due to the amount of data that I've been able to find, that's now in the City Museum archives. It's all been transcribed digitally, and I'm still compiling and putting together a lot of the missing pieces, and I've created an entire map and database, and so it gets filled in a little bit more every year. But I have been working on that when I can for the past 6 years, and it is coming together. But due to the fire that happened in October in 1930, the locations of all the individuals in Mount Hope were destroyed. And through death records, through RCCP at the time, they were able to compile a registry of who is buried at Mount Hope, but not necessarily where they are buried.
And is
Thank
there...
you for your
oh,
work
sorry,
on,
go ahead.
just thank you for your work on that. That's very impressive.
No, I think I was thinking some of the same stuff that Kate was. So I'm assuming there weren't markers on those spots. Did we put markers, temporary ones, so that you guys can go back and...
We do not add temporary markers. I mean, given that there's probably roughly over 10,000 people buried there at Mount Hope, the mapping will show where the people that we know of, where they are. And at one time, there were markers on many of those spaces, but they were made of wood or metal, and after a time, they just degraded and disappeared.
Okay, cool.
It wasn't until, Ryan would know, probably 2010, where the city actually began to assume responsibility for monuments. We would just mow, and that was it. And it was a nonprofit, Raleigh City Cemetery Preservation, I think RCCP, came to the council and said, you need to do better. One, your documentation, and two, you have all these important individuals that live in Raleigh, and their monuments are decaying and falling apart because they don't have family. So kudos to Ryan, like the work he has done over the 6 years to map out and work with nonprofits to do the genealogy to figure it out. It's quite impressive.
Yeah, that is really awesome. And I know it costs money to probably take the next steps, but probably people would maybe, I would wonder if at some point we could apply for some grants to be able to, do some exhumations and DNA testing, if there's anything like that, to be able to put names with the spaces. But that could be a ways off, I'm guessing.
It's probably due to the nature of the amount of time for a lot of those spaces, DNA wouldn't be really an option. I don't think at this point in time. I think we're past that. But anything that a lot of times we will discover markers under the ground when we do excavations, plantings, things of that nature. And we're able to bring those to the surface, clean them, restore them, and put them in their proper place. And that's one of the things that adds to the database and people getting to know who was there.
Okay, awesome.
Chris, are there any plans to do any planting at the O'Rourke Cemetery? Any new planting?
I would say we're definitely going to be taking out the trees along the border of the cemetery and replacing them with a hardier tree. They're not doing very well there. They're just, they're in sad shape. And I've now mapped all the spaces that we know of, and we did actually have that GPR last year. I don't know if any of you are familiar with O'Rourke, but years ago there was a massive oak right in the center of the cemetery that came down during a tornado. And now that I know where everyone is, we could put another large species tree back in that place because the root system won't affect the people that are currently buried there. And next year, we'll be hiring Patriot Scanning again to GPR the other side, the historical side. And once I get that data back, I would be able to have a better idea of what we could plant there, because we don't want to put any plantings on top of people. So we just want to be very diligent and not doing that. But there's plenty of opportunities for us to do some small like bulb plantings and things that are aesthetic and bring some color there. There is a plan going forward for that, but it's not my biggest fire to put out at the moment.
All right. Any other questions? Doug?
Excuse me. What's the plan for the part of Mount Hope Cemetery along Rocky Branch and the Greenway Trail there?
Are you referring to the area that's actually in the cemetery or between the service road of the cemetery and the Greenway?
It's hard to tell. There's a driveway that goes up there, but
That's our service
between the trail and the cemetery.
Okay. Actually, that is a project that I had started, I guess, 8 years ago with clearing that out and elevating all of that area. At the time, it's very prone to flooding, and we started to get some encampments in there. And really for everyone's safety, we started to elevate that area and basically expose it so we could see inside to make sure, there was, we didn't want any blind spots going through that section of Greenway. And Greenway had no problem with us going there and helping them out. So we elevated that entire area, which Alicia Smith still continually keeps abated. And she's also planting different flowering smaller trees throughout that area and doing other plantings, like meadow plantings, things that can get a little bit more wet. And we just keep that area maintained, and not to like the level of the cemetery, but we keep it from the invasives encroaching and keeping it very visible through there.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Ryan. All right. Next up is Dick's Leadership Committee. So
Just got canceled.
next week's is
Yes.
canceled. Yeah. But I was going to give the report from last week or last month. So obviously the big news is Gibson Play Plaza opened. So you guys know about that. The Dick's Conservancy announced that they've recently hit $75 million in total donations over the past 10 years. So that's a really big milestone that they've hit. A couple of these things you guys may have heard from other reports, but there is a membership program in place. And since the launch on April 14th, there have been over 400 members that have signed up. So if you guys want to sign up, you can become a member of this Dick's Park membership program. And you guys already heard about the demolition, and that is all I have. Okay.
I have a couple of questions on you for you. Do you know why the fireworks were moved away from Dick's Park? And also, is the sunflower field happening again?
I don't know the answer, but I think Stephen knows the answer to both of those.
I do. A number of things. First, the sunflowers are planted. I think they're about this tall. The rain will really help, and 100-degree heat. Sunflowers like that. Humans don't, but sunflowers do. And then July 4th, it just got outside of the capacity of the Parks Department. We were busing several thousand people. If you recall, we had a rain event last year that had lightning, and there was really no great egress trying to get people back on buses. So we talked to the partners over at the university in Lenovo where we used to have it, and they were open to having it back at their location. So back to the Lenovo Fairgrounds and NC State University where it has been historically. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions for me or for Stephen? Okay. Next report is the Historic Resources and Museum Advisory Board. Jeff?
There was no meeting with the social.
Yep. Okay. And Parks Bond Community Engagement Liaison reports. Anybody meet with their Parks Bond project? Kara?
Yes, we're having our final community meeting at Tarboro Road a week from today. I think it's at 5, maybe. I have a postcard on my fridge, but I would love for you guys to come out and be part of that community engagement, and then we will be presenting, I believe, in the July meeting for our approval. I nailed it. Thank you.
You nailed it.
All right. Great job. And now that we've had our retreat, everybody here has been to, or almost everybody here has been to Tarboro Road Community Center, the old one. And so I think we're all excited that the resources there and the staff there and the youth that are there are going to have a new center to be able to enjoy going forward. All right, that is it.
Oh, Chris?
Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, just briefly on Big Branch, I did go to the June 4th open house that they held. They did have what I consider I got there late purposely. Their count was over 100 attendees. So, good information. The staff included staff as well as some of the folks from the design engineers and everything like that. The one thing I would note is there was heavy neighborhood presence, including outside where some presentations out there. And the issue, as we know, I mean, we have heard from both neighborhoods, and there is strong concern over all three options, which I think when you look at it really is two options, because the two of the options are just whether you go right or left through the same neighborhood. So the awareness level on this one's pretty high.
Yep. Thank you, Steve. Any questions for Steve? Comments? Okay. So that takes us to Chair. Oh, Ian, go ahead.
I think Lauren sent everybody an invite for the Forestville Road Park CAG meeting, which is on Tuesday. It's the next open house at Marsh Creek at 5 o'clock on Tuesday. It's an interesting park. It's a lot of history and a lot of potential. So if you're at all interested in this, show up.
Yeah, that'll be a really cool park. Some cool plans lined up there. Yeah, just to echo what Steve said, Big Branch is something that I think as a board we've been hearing a lot about for the past few months. It's something that hasn't officially come in front of the board, so that's a unique situation. But as Steve said, we've heard folks from the area come and speak to us. I want to thank everybody that's here tonight, especially because you guys stuck around. Most of our public comment speakers take off as soon as they're done. But I want to thank you guys for trusting the process, coming here, making your voices heard to us here at the Parks meeting, at the Big Branch community meeting that Steve just mentioned. We have had members from both communities come and speak to us. There's not necessarily an easy solution here, so I would encourage everybody on the board, continue to do your homework, listen to the comments that have been made here. Some of the speakers here have said they've shared their contact information. If you want to take them up on that to be able to go visit and take a look, that's absolutely within the scope of your position on this board, so you can reach out to Giovanna to get that information. And just make sure you feel like you're informed on this issue so that when the time comes, if this does come in front of us, you feel like you have the facts that are necessary to be able to make a recommendation.
I know you just suggested that we could take individual field trips, but we took one to Mine Creek as a group. Would that maybe be something we could do as well?
Yes, we can arrange that. Actually, Adam and I talked about schedule just this morning about next steps, Greenway Committee, Park Board. So what we'll look at is how do we do a field trip and let the neighbors know, because we did the same with Mine Creek. We'll make sure we can park and safe and walk and everything. So.
Yep. And just for folks that may not know what Kara is referencing, a couple of years ago we had an issue with Mine Creek on the Greenway. It was a similar issue where we were talking about potential Greenway realignment. And as a board, we met with community members. We went on location, we heard their concerns, and we were able to kind of see and take pictures and really just understand what the concerns were so that we as a board felt like we were qualified to make a decision there. So, all right. Besides that, I just want to encourage you guys to, circling back to what I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, think about what committees you want to be part of for the next year. Some of them are really fun and they take field trips. Some of them don't take as many field trips and get a lot of bond projects presented to them. I'm not going to blame anybody, Ken. But yeah, maybe we'll get to talk about that track issue that was brought up in public comment today. That'll be a little change. But yeah, seriously, just think about it. There's not a limitation on how many committees you can be a part of. I mentioned this to all of you guys, hopefully, at the retreat that we just did. But obviously, our board is only as strong as our members, and you guys are really strong, and you guys do a great job, and you're passionate. So I don't want anybody to burn themselves out, but I'm also not going to hold any of you guys back. If you want to be a member of every board. If you want to back up somebody else as a liaison to something that already has a liaison, feel free to go to that. Don't feel intimidated that, you know, Bob's name is already here, or Jeff's name is already here, or Steve's name is already here. You guys can double up if you're interested in sharing leadership, you know, a committee chair position, a committee vice chair, or assistant chair, or co-chair. We can make that happen as well because, again, you know, committees need people. We need attendees to actually show up, but it's only, even if we show up, it's only going to be as good as we make it. So I just want to make sure you guys think about this. If you're not ready to make your decisions tonight, that's fine, but we want to be able to make the decisions fairly soon so that we can start polling everybody on availability for when we have those meetings going forward, because we don't change meeting times very often. Maybe once a year, but actually it's been more like once every 3 or 4 years. So,
And we should email Giovanna about, okay.
yeah. So without further ado, if anybody else has any other comments?
Chris,
Yes.
two things. The summer break, I put that in your chair report for August, for this August.
Oh.
And Kate, the Sir Walter Awards are September 17th at the Raleigh Union Station.
Okay. That would be a really cool opportunity to go see Raleigh Union Station, which always looks very cool. Okay. Awesome. Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone. We did it. It's not 7:45.